Good morning. It is my proud and privilege to chair the session in the conference being organized by Vedant Knowledge System Private Limited on the title From Tradition to Tomorrow, a multidisciplinary conference for a Viksit Bharat at the rate 2047. I congratulate Dr. Arjun Dave and his entire team for organizing such a beautiful and wonderful conference which is required. I have reviewed many papers wherein the authors are coming across the nation and who have beautifully written the papers. The paper I have reviewed is Social Development and Human Rights, which is being written by Maripalli Vishwanathan Vasudevidu, a research scholar at Karnavati University, who has beautifully presented the paper and delved into the social development with respect to human rights. Indian Constitution is a vast social document that is capable of leading us towards socio-economic justice, and indeed it is a fact that the preamble of our Constitution lays huge emphasis on achieving social justice, and the key to achieving such a goal is through social development. However, a crucial way of achieving this is through equality among equals by the virtue of affirmative actions. Thus, social development requires a major contribution from fundamental rights under the guidance of directive principle of state policy. Affirmative actions by the virtue of exceptions prevalent in the fundamental rights linked with the directive principles are the most important tools that both the executive as well as the judiciary need to follow religiously. In order to ensure the furtherance of human rights, basic minimum human rights in the form of socio-economic equality is one of the most legitimate and essential part of life. Another paper I have reviewed is NEP 2020 for a Better Bharat, Constitutional Aspects, being written by Professor Dr. Sri Gauri Kosri from Savita School of Law. Professor has dealt with the inclusiveness of education, and he laid focus that inclusive education could help in achieving socio-economic justice, and NEP 2020 is a significant plan that could end social disparities by focusing on disadvantaged groups and thus eventually bridging the gap. Further promotion of education through regional languages in a grand way could help in making Bharat more economically. With more masses having foundational education, since right to free and compulsory education for children who are aged 6 to 14 years is recognized as a fundamental right, and it becomes vital for NEP 2020 to ensure this by the virtue of cooperative federalism involving both the union as well as the state executives. Therefore, implementation of inclusive education with the support of fundamental rights, federal principles and directive principles remains to be the primary challenges that NEP 2020 needs to overcome in order to make Bharat Viksit by 2047. I congratulate Professor Dr. Sri Gauri Kosri for presenting the paper in a wonderful manner. Another paper I have reviewed being written by Sapna Pathakji, a research scholar at a School of Law, Auro University, along with Dr. Shilpi Sharma from the same university, titled as Transgender Person Protections of Rights Act 2019, a critical evaluation of rights, access and implementation for the transgender community in India. In the paper, the researcher has dealt with the aim of accomplishing socio-economic equality, landmark act in the form of Transgender Persons Protections of Rights Act 2019 by the legislature and the executive at National Legal Service Authority case, by the judiciary recognizing transgender people and their fundamental rights, are significant steps taken towards providing justice to the discriminated transgender community. Prohibition of discrimination against transgender persons and providing them with health care, education and employment are some of the positives in spite of falling short of international standards with respect to transgender rights. Having a comprehensive legal framework is a huge positive for Bharat, with imperative challenges of implementation remaining. Few amendments fixing the ambiguities in nature of the act with respect to punishment for violence against the community. Better measures for protecting the fundamental rights of the transgenders individuals and using more affirmative action for them by legislature are required. A comparative global study with respect to transgender rights and taking some of the positive from progressive nations could help with this task. Another paper was Workplace Reforms Challenges Before Judiciary to Empower Legal Development of Women in Viksit Bharat, written by Dr. Ruchi Trehan, an assistant professor from Tulani Motwane Institute of Law. Social justice and equality without women is impossible. Many women, despite of achieving their goals of acquiring jobs through skills, education and so on, are still not provided with adequate safety and security at workplace. Positive legal frameworks such as Vishakha's Guideline and Sexual Harassment Act 2013 and their proper implementation at workplaces is required to achieve safety for women, which is their fundamental right to life. Implementation of penal measures in order to safeguard women against harassment at workplace is a necessity, with POSH committee playing significant role. Sabka Saath Sabka Vikas cannot be achieved without the contribution of women, and for that they need to be secured by 2047 for a Viksit Bharat. By the virtue of leaving no grey areas through workplace reforms, just as the criminal laws are reformed. In conclusion, I can say that Viksit Bharat by 2047 requires our country to evolve in a manner that is inclusive of all, including the marginalized person, ensuring that no fundamental rights get deprived from any individual, be it the backward caste, transgender or safety of women at workplace. With the help of directive principles and their proper implementation is a necessity. Thus, Viksit Bharat means inclusive Bharat. I again congratulate